At around 4:30 p.m. on April the 25th of 2023, 32-year-old William Garcia kidnapped a woman in the city of Commerce in southeast Los Angeles County, California. Security camera footage showed that the victim had been walking down the 2200 block of Coots Avenue when Garcia pulled up in a silver vehicle armed with a handgun. He grabbed her by the hair and forced her into the passenger seat after pistol whipping her in the head. At around 2 p.m. the next day, sheriff's deputies surrounded a home in the 5000 block of Kinsey Street, where Garcia was holed up. Authorities said that following his arrest, he would be charged with kidnapping and abduction. Less than 6 hours later, the victim was located in the area with no further injuries. According to officials, it was unclear whether or not the suspect had previously known the woman. Law enforcement reportedly seized Garcia's Kia Rio as evidence. Number 18. Nina Star Parisis. On September the 29th of 2021, Florida teen Nina Star Parisis was arrested and charged with robbery in Palm Springs. Surveillance footage showed the 19-year-old putting some items in her car at the Tire Kingdom on Military Trail. Parisis, dressed in dark clothing, was then seen approaching a woman and trying to grab her purse. After the victim resisted, Parisis threw her onto a bench and dragged her to the ground before yanking the purse off her shoulder. The thief then fled the scene in a silver SUV. The local fire rescue crew treated the victim for injuries to the arm and head. The following day, Palm Springs police found the SUV with Parisis in the passenger seat. She confessed to stealing a $5,000 Chanel purse, a gold chain, several credit cards, an iPhone, cash, and other items. She was held in custody at the Palm Beach County Jail. Number 17. Joe Cummings. In 2009, Joe Cummings noticed that someone had been stealing his food and urinating in the kitchen sink of his house in Manhattan, New York. He set up a surveillance camera and subsequently discovered that every time he went to sleep at night, a stranger would emerge from inside his cupboard. Grainy night vision footage showed a woman carefully stepping down from the upper area of the pantry onto a table and down to the floor. The suspect headed over to the sink and relieved herself before grabbing food and drinks from the fridge. She then sat down on the sofa, watched some television, and went back to the fridge. At that point, she heard Cummings exiting his bedroom and immediately hid back in the cupboard. After watching the footage, Cummings called the cops and the woman was arrested. Authorities believe that she'd been living in the cupboard for multiple weeks before she was discovered. Number 16. Sean Grubert. On September the 4th of 2014, South Carolina State Trooper Sean Grubert shot an unarmed man who reached for his license during a traffic stop at a Richland County gas station. Footage from 31-year-old Grubert's dash cam showed that as 35-year-old LeVar Jones stepped out of his truck, the trooper asked to see his driver's license. Jones turned and reached into his vehicle, at which point the officer shouted, "Get out of the car," drew his gun, and instantly fired a round. The victim was hit in the hip and was consequently hospitalized. In the aftermath, Grubert was relieved of his police duties. 20 days later, an arrest warrant was issued for Grubert on charges of assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature. He was taken into custody before posting his $75,000 bail. In March of 2016, he pleaded guilty and faced the possibility of spending up to 20 years in prison. More than a year later, he was handed a 12-year sentence, suspended for 5 years, plus 3 years of probation. Number 15. Brandon James Williams. On August the 9th of 2017 in Stillwater, Oklahoma, 41-year-old Chastity Dawn Carey fatally shot a man she thought was attempting to skip bail. Carey, from Drumright, owned a bail bond company at 116 West 7th Avenue, and the man in question, 38-year-old Brandon James Williams, was her client. Her firm had reportedly put up $35,000 for Williams's bond. Surveillance footage revealed that the bondswoman had locked the door of her office moments before the shooting. Her son, 19-year-old Justin Henderson, was standing by with a pair of handcuffs. Carey ordered Williams to turn around and put his hands behind his back. An altercation ensued between the woman and her client, and when Williams tried to make his way toward a window, Carey grabbed a gun from her desk and shot him in the back. She then called 911 and reported the incident. When Stillwater authorities arrived at the scene, Williams was already dead. Carey was arrested, charged with first-degree murder, and denied bail while in custody. On March the 9th of 2018, however, she was acquitted of the murder charge. Her attorney indicated that if she had been charged with second-degree homicide instead, she likely would have been found guilty. Number 14. Mark Titley. Paramedic Mark Titley, aged 58, attempted to steal $75 from a patient's home in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, England, on June the 29th of 2022. Titley, from Ponsbury, was one of 4 medics from the West Midlands Ambulance Service who were called to the address on Torrin Drive after a 94-year-old collapsed in her garden. The woman was given CPR and advanced life support but died 20 minutes later. According to West Mercia Police, Titley was searching for a Do Not Resuscitate form inside the home when he came across a plastic box containing cash. Unbeknownst to him, he was being recorded by a security camera. Titley counted the money before securing it in his trouser pocket. After he spotted the camera, he immediately returned the cash and later claimed he'd intended to give it to the patient's family. The victim's son said he felt sick to his stomach after seeing the footage. On April 3rd of 2023, Titley admitted theft at Shrewsbury Crown Court and was given an 18-week suspended jail sentence. He was also ordered to serve 120 hours of unpaid work and required to pay costs of no less than $664, as well as a $234 victim surcharge. According to the ambulance service Titley worked for, he was relieved of his post following the incident. Number 13. New York City subway passenger. A video posted in February of 2023 showed a black man hurling racially charged insults at a white couple on the New York City subway system. The man reportedly ordered the couple and their toddler to go back to Europe while addressing them as white monkeys. The video garnered nearly 500,000 views within a 2-month period. The unnamed suspect was described as a repeat offender who'd carried out similar verbal attacks in the past. His abusive pattern of behavior was unearthed by online sleuths who were outraged by the video. 3 individuals who were alleged to have been verbally assaulted by the same man shared posts about their experience, which took place around the city as well. Areas where the man had been spotted included 7th Avenue around 55th Street, a location outside Port Authority bus terminal, and 37th Street on 8th Avenue. At the time of the video's publication, it wasn't clear whether the unruly man had been charged with any crime. Number 12. Kenny Owen. On the night of July the 12th of 2022, a man attempted to break into more than a dozen homes in Cambridgeshire, England. The would-be burglar was said to have targeted at least 15 homes along the streets of Warrington in Peterborough. Several doorbell cameras showed him checking if the front doors to the residences were unlocked. Following the man's night of attempted burglaries, Cambridge police subsequently received reports of similar incidents and requested that more footage of the suspect be brought forward. They later identified the man as 44-year-old Kenny Owen and arrested him in Breton on July the 16th. On January the 16th of 2023, Owen pleaded guilty to 15 counts of attempted burglary and was sentenced to 38 months behind bars. Number 11. North Carolina car dealership. In the early hours of February the 25th of 2023, a group of 4 broke into Adams Auto Group in Charlotte, North Carolina, and stole 4 luxury cars, 3 BMWs, and a Maserati. The stolen vehicles had a total value amounting to more than $300,000. The suspects had reportedly driven to the scene on East Independence Boulevard in a blue car. Surveillance footage revealed that the burglars broke into the dealership through the front door, then grabbed 4 sets of key fobs from the back corner. According to law enforcement, the suspects had used cinder blocks to break the glass. One of them was seen driving off through the front window with the $55,000 Maserati Ghibli S Grand Sport. The other 3 swiftly followed, taking 760i, 840i, and 850i BMWs with them. According to the case's lead detective, Calvin Helms, 2 of the 4 cars that were stolen from the showroom were quickly tracked down. He added that one was abandoned in Greensboro, while another was found on Interstate 277. Authorities speculated that an organized crime ring could have been responsible for the burglary. 3 weeks prior, 4 other cars had also been stolen from Adams and an additional 12 cars from 2 other dealerships. Number 10. Dakota Daniels. 27-year-old Dakota Daniels from Santa Rosa Valley, California, was arrested for attempting to steal a car in Agora Hills on March the 31st of 2023. According to eyewitnesses, Daniels initially tried to swipe a purse from a 75-year-old woman who'd been sitting in a vehicle parked in front of Ralph's grocery store. The victim was pulled out of the car and thrown to the ground after the struggle for the handbag. Daniels then entered the vehicle and tried to drive away, but the victim had an anti-theft club installed on the vehicle's steering wheel, which made it difficult to maneuver. Camera footage showed the car pinballing around the parking lot in the Twin Oaks shopping center on Canaan Road as Daniels tried to flee. She collided with several vehicles before eventually 3 people were able to restrain her. Her hands were tied with a bandana and her shoes were tied together until deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department arrived. The suspect was subsequently arrested on suspicion of carjacking and assault. Number 9. Deshawn Thomas. A homeless man was shot on the sidewalk in front of the Globe building in St. Louis, Missouri, on February the 27th of 2023. In footage recorded by a witness, 23-year-old Deshawn Thomas was seen standing over the victim, David Saldana, who had his hands over his ears. He then loaded a pistol and fatally shot Saldana in the head before fleeing the scene. According to law enforcement, Thomas was arrested while in possession of a firearm and bullet casings. The following day, a local newspaper reported that the shooter had been charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action and was scheduled to appear at the Carnahan courthouse. Eyewitnesses reported that prior to the shooting, Thomas and Saldana got into a fight outside a nearby gas station in the 700 block of North Tucker Boulevard. At the time, it was unclear if the pair knew each other. Number 8. Michael Anthony Harris. On August the 18th of 2020, 44-year-old Michael Anthony Harris shot a woman twice in the back in Daytona Beach, Florida. The victim called 911 around 3:38 and was found by the stairway at the Travelers Inn located at 850 South Ridgewood Avenue, but the suspect had already fled. Law enforcement received an anonymous tip on August the 29th that Harris was in Unit 104 of an apartment complex in Espanola Avenue in Holly Hill. Police from both Daytona Beach and Holly Hill were dispatched to the apartment that afternoon. When officers entered the building, they were immediately shot at and subsequently returned fire. Body camera footage captured the ensuing shootout between law enforcement and Harris. Gunfire ceased after officers heard the screams of a woman coming from the same room in which the shooter was barricaded. The woman was fortunately brought to safety unscathed. When the firing continued, Harris was eventually shot dead by police. The police chief said in a press conference that the incident exemplified one of the reasons why his department had invested in body cameras almost a decade earlier, as the footage confirmed that Harris had fired the first shot. Number 7. Thomas Robinson. A 23-year-old murder suspect named Thomas Robinson lunged for a police officer's gun while being taken into custody in Cincinnati, Ohio. On June the 21st of 2016, Robinson was responsible for the shooting of teenager Joseph Reno Armstrong and another man in Westwood 5 days earlier. Camera footage showed that the suspect had been handcuffed to a chair in the interrogation room. After he learned that he was going to be charged with murder, he reached for an officer's gun. During the ensuing struggle, he repeatedly shouted, "Kill me! Kill me!" Robinson was ultimately tased by another officer and subdued immediately. On October the 21st of 2019, he pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, robbery, and felonious assault, and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Number 6. Andres Trujillo and Yoniel de Vera Gutierrez. Farm owner Ed Harvey Davis of 805 Braddock Road in Auburndale, Florida, reported many of the Hereford cattle from his pasture missing on December the 12th of 2011. The Polk County Sheriff's Office sent out a Crime Stoppers alert that sought information from the public regarding the animal's disappearance. A week later, a reserve sergeant notified agricultural deputies of a red light camera infraction that occurred shortly before 3 a.m. on Highway 27 and Holly Hill Road in Haines City. A white 1989 Dodge pickup truck towing a gooseneck livestock trailer was spotted on the red light camera. The truck's license plate reportedly belonged to a man named Andres Trujillo. It was determined that Trujillo's trailer had been transporting cattle with Hereford breed colors and characteristics. The man was headed in the direction of the cattle markets in the south. The Pasco County Sheriff's Office was also looking into a livestock theft at the same time and had a detailed description of the suspect vehicle and trailer. After speaking with Pasco County officials, Polk County investigators discovered that Yoniel de Vera Gutierrez of 388 East 55th Street in Hialeah had sold livestock that had been stolen. Footage revealed that 7 cows were sold at the livestock market auction on December the 12th for a total of $3,798.21. After seeing the cows' sale on video, the Polk County case's victim, Ed Harvey Davis, was able to positively identify them as his livestock. Additionally, a security camera at a bank captured both De Vera Gutierrez and Trujillo cashing a check after the sale of the cows. Charges brought against the suspects included grand theft of livestock and dealing in stolen property. Number 5. Christopher Locke. A woman was robbed at a 7-Eleven located on 501 East LaSalle Avenue in South Bend, Indiana, on May the 18th of 2020. Surveillance video from the store showed a male suspect grabbing Justina Cruz while she was paying for a beverage. The two proceeded to wrestle back and forth before the man took her wallet and fled the scene. The video footage was posted online, helping authorities identify the suspect as 46-year-old Christopher Locke. 2 days after the robbery, Locke was arrested and held in custody at the St. Joseph County Jail, according to a press release from the prosecutor's office. He admitted to the crime and was charged with robbery resulting in bodily injury. His bond was set at $10,000. According to official documents, Locke had been charged with burglary and resisting law enforcement in connection with past incidents. On March the 4th of 2021, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 9 years in prison to be served concurrently with the punishments from 2 previous convictions from 2019. Number 4. Fayetteville Muggin. On the night of July the 24th of 2019, a man who just returned to his home in Fayetteville, North Carolina, was approached by 4 armed and masked men. The suspects forced him to the ground and stole his cash, cell phone, and credit cards. Footage from a nearby doorbell camera showed the victim, who had blood on his face, being forced to unlock the door to his house. One of the burglars said, "Open this door or we're going to kill you," while a gun was held to the victim's back. The injured man's fiancée opened the door after she heard the commotion. The robbers took cash, phones, debit cards, and marijuana from inside the house and smashed the doorbell camera before fleeing the scene. The police said that the robbery wasn't random, but as of the latest developments, the suspects had yet to be identified. Number 3. Hooded West Midlands burglars. In West Midlands, England, a domestic burglary was captured by CCTV at around 8:40 p.m. on June the 16th of 2019. 2 hooded men avoided a security camera at the front of the house by entering the property through the back of the Netherton home. Unbeknownst to them, however, another camera was stationed near the back and captured them in clear view. Footage showed the pair passing through a kitchen window before forcing their way inside with crowbars. They fled within half an hour of entering the property, having stolen a gold ring, cash, and a passport. As of the most recent updates, West Midlands Police had publicly released the footage and was still investigating the matter. Number 2. Suffolk Thieves. On November the 16th of 2023, masked women stole beauty supplies worth more than $11,000 from a store at the Hampton Roads Crossing Shopping Center in Suffolk, Virginia, at around 3 p.m. Security cameras at Ulta Beauty in the 1000 block of University Boulevard caught the suspects during the commission of the theft. The footage showed that as one of them walked around grabbing items, the other 2 concealed items inside their clothes. The 3 women left the store without paying. Local police sought the public's help in identifying the suspects, according to 13 News Now. In case you haven't seen our release on when hiding cameras goes wrong a few months back, then be sure to check that one out right after number 1. Number 1. Nasli Ortiz and Benjamin Green. A road rage incident unfolded on July the 26th of 2022 when Nasli Ortiz and Benjamin Green tailed a motorist until they came to a stop off an exit on Interstate 45 in Houston, Texas. 34-year-old Green exited his black truck near Parramatta Lane, approached the other driver and assaulted him. According to the county sheriff, 40-year-old Ortiz got out of the truck and fired a gun at the victim's vehicle as he attempted to flee the scene. One shot penetrated the back seat while a second bullet hit a car dealership nearby. A witness recorded footage of the suspects fleeing in their truck after the shots were fired. Authorities later found out that the victim was with his young nephew. He told ABC 13 that the toddler was hit by shattered glass but wasn't seriously injured. The victim added that he'd been taken to the hospital after the bullet grazed the side of his head. Ortiz was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Her bond was set at $300,000. Green was charged with assault for the alleged attack, and his bond was set at $150,000. The pair were held in custody at the Harris County Jail as they awaited the next steps of their case's legal proceedings. Number 10. Harmony Hatche.
As I got into the shower, I noticed something in the vent next to the shower head.
23-year-old Harmony Hatche from Edinburgh, Scotland, was horrified to find a hidden camera while showering at the Oxford Wheatley Travelodge in September of 2015. Immediately after noticing the device placed inside a small vent, she contacted the hotel staff. Workers revealed that the camera was linked to a cupboard but indicated that it was inoperative. Hatche was told by the manager that the device was used only for maintenance purposes. However, after police arrived at the scene, they determined that the camera was attached to a USB cable that dangled into the caretaker's room, allowing it to be potentially connected to any computer. As of the latest available updates on the matter, no arrests had been made. Hatche stated that the USB cable hadn't been attached to any other devices and that she was hopeful the video hadn't been live streamed. Number 9. Dougie Hamilton. 34-year-old Dougie Hamilton and his girlfriend, Taryn, from Glasgow, Scotland, discovered a spy camera hidden behind a clock at their Airbnb flat in September of 2018. The couple had booked the rental property for them to stay at during their trip to Toronto, Canada. Upon their arrival, Hamilton immediately felt there was something strange about the digital clock hanging on the wall. He claimed to have stared at it for a while before deciding to investigate what exactly made it creepy to him. Much to the couple's shock, they found a hidden camera connected to a wire similar to a phone charger. Hamilton posted the pictures of his discovery on Facebook and contacted Airbnb about the issue. Before heading over to the police department, Airbnb provided Hamilton and his girlfriend with alternative accommodation for the duration of their trip and issued a complete refund. Number 8. Derek Starnes. Wayne Natt, a 56-year-old Airbnb host who'd been renting out his home in Longboat Key, Florida, since 2015 and boasted over 40 reviews, was arrested after guests noticed a hidden camera hidden above the bed. Indiana man Derek Starnes and his wife arrived at their vacation spot on October the 31st of 2017. It wouldn't be until the following day that they noticed what appeared to be a small hole in the smoke detector. Starnes examined the device and, fearing there might be a camera inside, contacted local authorities. After confirming the vacationer's suspicions, police arrested Natt and a search warrant was issued to examine both his home and computer equipment. Natt told police officers that the cameras were never activated when guests rented his property, a claim that was later proven false after authorities gained access to hours of footage. On July the 26th of 2018, Natt was found guilty of 14 counts of video voyeurism and sentenced to a year behind bars plus 3 years probation. Number 7. Carlin Perry. In December of 2021, Carlin Perry discovered that the smoke detector in her California apartment was not only fake, but was actually a disguised surveillance camera. The tenant was notified by the Sacramento apartment complex's administrator that a maintenance person would be entering her unit to service the fire alarms. She agreed, not suspecting any potential of foul play. She noticed the detector's cover hadn't been properly secured, but didn't think much of it and headed out of town with her boyfriend. When they returned, however, the smoke detector cover had been properly secured. After Perry's boyfriend denied having fixed it himself, the couple examined the device and was shocked to find a notice printed on the back reading, "This is not a smoke detector, will not detect heat or smoke, for video surveillance only." Someone had installed a motion-activated surveillance system which included an SD card. Perry contacted the authorities and a criminal investigation was launched into the matter, but no further information had been released to the media as of December of 2022. Number 6. Vanya Samakovar and Ruslana Zambazova. Bulgarian exchange students Vanya Samakovar and Ruslana Zambazova, who'd rented an apartment in Tampa, Florida, in 2011, found cameras in every room of the home, including the bathroom. The women, both in their early 20s at the time, had been living in the US for 3 months as part of a work travel program before they noticed surveillance cameras installed in fake smoke detectors. One of the devices had reportedly been aimed at the students' shower. Samakovar and Zambazova used tape to block the camera's view before calling 911. An investigation was launched, with police seeking to determine whether the cameras had been activated as well as who had been responsible for installing them. Number 5. Ana Lucia Bezera and Julia Stopper. Ana Lucia Bezera and Julia Stopper's vacation was ruined when they discovered a hidden camera in the Airbnb home they'd rented in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, during November of 2022. The couple, having already spent a week on the beachfront property, noticed a strange object concealed behind an air vent above the closet. Stopper, who worked as a tattoo artist, took a photo with her cell phone using flash and spotted a glare in the picture, which she concluded could be a camera lens. Upon removing the air vent, Bezera and Stopper discovered not only a hidden camera aimed directly at their bed, but also an audio cable indicating that their private conversations had been recorded as well. The couple fled the rented house and immediately contacted the police. They were stunned to learn that the apartment's owner had fined them $1,684, accusing them of property damage. Bezera and Stopper alerted Airbnb of the situation, and the company launched an internal investigation, assuring the women that legal action would be taken against the host. Number 4. Horacio Minero Hernandez. Tennessee man Horacio Minero Hernandez was arrested in November of 2022 after his wife of 14 years discovered cameras he'd installed in one of the bathrooms of their Nashville home. Minero Hernandez, aged 38, had reportedly remodeled the bathroom used by his wife's daughters. He subsequently told the woman, who was identified only by her TikTok username, New Mummy of 3, that his construction work was completed and the girls could resume taking showers there. Unbeknownst to her, however, Minero Hernandez had hidden a camera in the light fixture. New Mummy of 3 published a video in which she filmed the discovery of the camera, explaining she was trying to change the light bulb, which had stopped working after the repairs, at which point she realized what her husband had done. She immediately fled the home along with her teenage daughters and contacted the police. During a recorded conversation with Minero Hernandez, she asked him why he'd done it. Initially, he explained that he found the camera at work and wanted to check if it worked. When pressed, he admitted he'd made a mistake, saying, "When you have something wrong in your head, you just do it without thinking." During interrogation, he assured police he'd never watched his wife's daughters showering, as the camera didn't work properly. Minero Hernandez, who'd illegally entered the country, was charged with 2 counts of attempted exploitation and arrested without bond after the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Office lodged a detainer. Number 3. Zoe Klopfer. Zoe Klopfer, a 25-year-old fitness model from California, discovered that her housemate, William Francis, had installed a spy camera in her bathroom. In a video she uploaded to her social media accounts on July the 24th of 2019, Klopfer explained how Francis, a photographer and videographer employed by Drone Tech Films, had left what seemed to be an iPhone charger in her bathroom. However, it turned out to be a decoy with a pinhole camera installed, which he'd strategically placed in order to record Klopfer naked. When she finally realized the truth, the model removed the memory card hidden inside the device and uploaded the content to her computer. In it, she found 271 files, although not all of the videos featured Klopfer. She explained how Francis had taken the purported charger wherever he went, and he was thus able to spy on several other women over time. Although one of the videos featured her former housemate setting up the camera, police told Klopfer it could take years before Francis would face the legal consequences for his actions. Number 2. Justin Anderson. Justin Anderson, a chiropractor from Boise, Idaho, was arrested on September the 22nd of 2022 for recording patients naked in the treatment room. Anderson, who was 33 at the time, told his clients to change in the room before he would begin treatment and had installed hidden cameras to capture the supposedly private moments of nudity. Police were alerted to the situation on September the 16th when one of his patients noticed the device as she removed her clothes. Anderson was charged with 2 counts of video voyeurism, although more victims were expected to come forward. The Idaho Board of Chiropractic Physicians suspended Anderson's license in the aftermath of his arrest. He was warned that if he did not plead guilty in exchange for lesser charges by January the 3rd of 2023, the trial against him would begin. No further information regarding the case had been published as of December of 2022. Number 1. Michelle Montcourt. While vacationing in New South Wales, Australia with her family in October of 2019, Michelle Montcourt was shocked to discover a camera hidden inside a discarded plastic bottle. Frustrated that someone had thrown garbage on the beach, the Mexican tourist decided to pick up the bottle and throw it in the trash bin. It was then, however, that Montcourt discovered the bottle had been cut to conceal a small gadget inside. An unidentified man in his 30s who'd placed the bottle close behind her immediately fled the scene. She examined the device hidden inside the San Benedito water bottle, noticing that a small hole had been poked through the label, which allowed the camera's lens to remain undetected unless inspected up close. Inside the camera, she found a 32-gig memory card containing footage of sunbathers, including herself. Montcourt later handed the evidence over to the police, but as of the latest developments, the suspect hadn't been identified by New South Wales authorities. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have a video of you picking your nose go viral or go on a date looking exactly how you look when you first wake up? Let us know in the comments section below.